If you guys want coins for FC24, make sure you check out MMOEXP.com. Their link is down in the description. They're very fast, they're very cheap, they're very reliable, and if you use my code REMA, you can get yourself a lovely 5% discount. So what's up guys, it's Ash here and welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video guys, I'm going to be showing you my tactics that I used to unlock Pickford and Enzo Fernandez using the England team. We actually went 18-2 with this team. I used it the entire weekend. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm going to show you what we used to get it. It was a 4-3-2-1 formation primarily. And yeah, I hope you guys find it useful or enjoy. And yeah, I can't help that I am uploading another 4-3-2-1. It's just the one that I did use for this weekend league and I thought you guys would enjoy to see it. And yeah, with all that aside guys, please drop it a thumbs up as it does really help me out. Sub to the channel if you are new of course, so you never miss out on any videos, and don't forget to turn on those notifications so you are notified when a video is posted. And yeah, with all that aside guys, let's get right into today's video. Alright then guys, so for the tactics, pretty similar to the video I uploaded about a week ago on the 4-3-2-1. Again, it's just what I used, so I thought you guys would like the update on how we got our wins. And yeah, for the defensive style guys, balanced, as I always say, it gives us the best control over our defense. I'm choking on my words here, apologies. Yeah, it gives you the best control over your defense. When you want to press, you can. When you want to drop off and be more passive, you can also do that. If you do prefer to use pressure tactics, however, because that's what you like to use, that is also absolutely fine. You do you know what I mean? For the defensive width, guys, I advise anywhere between 40 and 50, as it does give you the best, you know, it gives you a nice, narrow, and compact defense to block out, you know, those attacks through the middle of the pitch, which makes it much more difficult for your opponent. The reason we don't go any lower than, let's say, 40 is because it's important to maintain enough width in the defensive shape to cover the wider areas for when an opponent goes down the wing or when they switch to play. Otherwise, you're just going to get nowhere near the ball and give your opponent a free pass down the wing. So you don't really want that. 40 to 50 is my advice. Yeah, that's the word. For the depth, guys, you have a couple of different options, really. A lot of people like to use 71 depth, as it does give you that automatic press from the AI, completely congest that middle area of the pitch to block out all those attacks. Again, this is very automatic, very AI heavy, and not something I'm a big fan of, but if you struggle defensively, you can use it. If you're like me and want to be a bit more manual in your defense and have more control, you can use like 65 or 60, as it still gives you that higher defensive line. You just have more control over when you press. It's not like 71 depth where the AI is constantly pressing your opponent, but I like it, you know. If this is still too high for you, however, you can lower it even more, and that is absolutely fine. So depth is quite a preference-based thing, in my opinion, depending on how you defend. Now, for the build-up play, guys, I highly recommend balanced, as it does give you the most consistent and fluid build-ups, in my opinion. When used balanced, guys, you can basically pick and choose between all these settings all in once, you know, all in one. God, I'm struggling today. But yeah, you can pick between all these settings whenever you want to use them, essentially. You know, if you want to build up slowly, you can. If you want to build up a bit quicker, you can also do that. The reason I don't advise using these individual settings is because I think they suck, if I'm being honest with you. Like, slow build-up just makes your players move around really slowly, but not in the good way. It doesn't help you build up slowly whatsoever. And then for the fast build up, they just move around like maniacs, and again, doesn't really help you. They kind of just run into the defenders and things like that, so I don't advise it. The only one you can make a case for, really, I'd say, is long ball, which is alright, but again, I don't really use that. For the chance creation, guys, I recommend direct passing, as it's the only way to consistently break through those park the bus defenses in this game. When you use direct passing, guys, your attackers will often make these movements where it's like a push forward, track back kind of thing. So what will happen is your attacker will make a run, the opposition defender follows the attacker that is making the run, and then once the defender has overcommitted to the run the attacker has made, your attacker then tracks back. So then there's a big gap between that defender and the attacker, so you can pass across or cut back to them. That is the way this works. And unfortunately, it's a bit boring, but it's very effective at the same time. For the attacking width, you can pretty much use whatever you want. Just remember, though, the 4-3-2-1 is quite a narrow formation, so you don't want to make it crazy wide. Otherwise, it's more like a 4-3-3, and you might as well just use one. So my advice would be like 40 to 55, but I just use 48, as it's quite nice and narrow, but again, you still have a bit of natural width too. It's not too crammed in that middle area. For the players in the box, guys, I have this on 6, so we can get a few players into that penalty area without completely over-committing, because the last thing you want to do, essentially, is throw everyone in the box, lose the ball, and get counter-attack, because that sucks, you know. So I think 6 is the nice balance, or 7. It's completely up to you, really. And yeah, for the corners and the free kicks, I pop them both on 2, but again, you can pretty much do whatever you want with that. It is preference-based after all. Now, moving on to the player instructions, guys. On the striker, I advise popping them on stay central and getting behind. The reason I like stay central is because it keeps them primarily in that middle area. You don't really want them drifting out wide. You have wider forwards and fullbacks, so you don't really need them covering that space, in my opinion. I'd rather keep them in the middle, so you've always got that focal point, always somebody to aim for, but that is what I like, and I think it is the best. We also pop them on getting behind so that they're not static and will actually make movements. I can't tell you how much I've tried mixed attack throughout the year, and whenever anyone activates like a pressure tactic or 71 depth, they just stop moving. You know, they don't help you out whatsoever, and it becomes impossible to attack. So getting behind forces the runs out of them regardless, and make sure you get the most efficient striker. Now for the left forward, we also pop them on stay central and getting behind. Again, this is to keep them in those more narrow channels, which is really good for the 4-3-2-1. One of the reasons this formation is so good is because of the way the forwards are positioned. They kind of get in between the centre backs and the full backs and the centre backs. They get in between those positions, which are really hard for the AI to mark, and you can kind of just cut through the defence. So you want to keep them in those narrow channels, but again, that's just my opinion. We also have them on getting behind, again, to ensure that they do actually make those runs. Now for the right forward, what we do is pop them on getting behind and come back on defence. Now the reason we put them on getting behind, of course, is so they do make runs, but we also pop them on come back on defence to make it defend in a 4-4-2 shape. Now the reason we do this is because the 4-4-2 is one of the best defensive shapes you can have. You have the back four, which covers the central area with the two centre-backs, and then the wider area with the two full-backs, and then in the midfield you now have a four-man midfield as well, where you're going to have two centre-mids to cover the middle area, and then a right mid and a left mid to cover the wider areas. So you've got two blocks of four, which makes it very difficult for your opponent to attack you down the wing and through the middle. So when you put this player on comeback on defence, they'll come back to defend as a right midfielder in the 4-4-2 shape, which is really, really nice. With that in mind, for the right centre mid, we use a more box-to-box style midfielder, so somebody that will attack and defend and have a bit of a free roll. So on this player, we just leave them on the default settings so that they can do a bit of everything. The only thing that's important to change on this player is cover centre, so that they will defend as one of those two centre mids in the 4-4-2 shape. So Stanway, in my case, defends as the right centre mid. Now for the middle centre mid, guys, we use a more defensive-minded player like a CDM, somebody that's just going to defend, lock down the midfield, and make sure we're nice and secure. So on this player, guys, we pop them on stay back while attacking and cover centre. Stay back while attacking so that they obviously don't go forward. We need that balance in the midfield. We don't want to overcommit to the attack because that's not good. And then also cover centre, which is very important, so that they will defend as the left centre mid in the 4-4-2 shape. So Rice and Stanway will be my two centre mids. Now for the left centre mid, guys, we can use an actual attacker here because I said it defends in a 4-4-2. So when you put this player on cover wing, they'll defend as a left mid in the 4-4-2 shape, which means you don't really need a super defensive minded player because they're not going to have to defend in that centre mid role, you know. They kind of have a bit more of an attacking position. It's a benefit to have somebody like Foden that does have that high defensive work rate, but it is not, you know, it's not necessary whatsoever, you know. So on this player, because they're the extra attacker, get forward, get into the box across so that they do act as that attacker, and then also cover wing, which is very important to make them defend as that left mid in the 4-4-2 shape. So the way this team sets up for me when we don't have the ball is Foden left mid, Rice left centre mid, Stanway right centre mid, and then Saka right mid. That's the way it works. Now for the fullbacks, guys, whichever one is the most attacking one or whichever one you want to send forward, pop them on balanced attack and overlap. This is because the 4-3-2-1 is a narrow formation, so sometimes you need that extra width, and it is really, really beneficial to have this fullback on the overlapping run to give you that extra width. I cannot recommend it enough. Very, very, very important. For the other fullback, guys, the more defensive one, pop them on stay back and overlap, so you always have at least 3 defenders back at a time, but when you send them on the run forward, they'll make that overlapping run just like the other fullback. For the 2 centre-backs, we leave them alone, and the keeper, we also leave them alone. But yeah, guys, they're my tactics and instructions that we use to get the England players and Fernandes, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed. If you have, please be sure to drop it a thumbs up, sub to the channel if you are new, and don't forget to turn on notifications. And yeah, with that aside, guys, hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace out, guys. Take care.